NFL Live. The Ravens are in the building for off-season workouts. The headline is Lamar Jackson's there. And wait until you hear what Kyle Hamilton had to say about the defense. Plus, we're just 2 weeks away from the draft. Should the Bears, Commanders, and Panthers be in search of playmakers for their young quarterbacks? We have some answers there, and there's nothing more exciting than a draft night trade. We have some possibilities, and one of them actually includes Max Crosby. Stick around to hear what our experts think, and boy, experts is the operative word. We have the brain trust here today. I'm Hannah Storm, along with Kevin Clark, Bill Barnwell, and Mina Kimes. I mean, how did we get so lucky, people? We're all going to be smarter after this hour. This is new on NFL Live. Miami edge rusher Ruben Bain is visiting with the Chiefs today. Kansas City holds the number 9 pick and has done work on all the top pass rushers. Bell Kuiper has Bain going there in his latest mock. So, Mina, why don't you kick it off for us today on NFL Live? How do you like that fit, Bain and the Chiefs?
I love it. I think this would be a dream outcome for Kansas City, quite frankly, in part because they really need pass rush. Last season, their highest-ranked edge rusher and pass rush win was George Karlaftis, who ranked 25th at the position. They need juice there, as part of that four-man rush in particular, and juice is exactly what Ruben Bain Jr. brings to the table. His get-off is extremely explosive. He plays with violent hands. The way he converts speed to power is special. His motor also runs hot versus the run. And I think for Kansas City, he fits their timeline because this is a team that should be competitive every year, including next year, and he's a pro-ready player. I also like it when you look at the draft as a whole. They are picking later in the first round, and they have other needs, corner, wide receiver. I think that they are more likely to find an impactful receiver at the end of the first round than they are to find an edge rusher who's anywhere close to Bain. I think there's a pretty big drop-off after 3. So to me, this would be a dream pick for Kansas City, and they better be hoping it happens.
Yeah, landing one of those top 3 edge rushers would be fantastic. I'm intrigued to see how Steve Spagnuolo might use Ruben Bain, though, because of what the Chiefs have up front in Chris Jones. Chris Jones is a defensive tackle in name only. He does play a lot on the...
What's up, everybody? We are back. And today we are watching NFL Live. Mina Kimes, Bill Barnwell, Kevin Clark, and Anna Storm. They're breaking down the NFL draft. And there's a lot to unpack. The Cowboys, the Commanders, the Eagles, everyone is trying to make a move. Let's start with the Kansas City Chiefs. Mina Kimes said something that stopped me cold. She said, Ruben Bain would be a dream pick for Kansas City. And she's right. The Chiefs need pass rush badly. Their highest-ranked edge rusher in pass rush win rate last season was George Karlaftis, ranked 25th at the position. 25th. That's not good enough for a Super Bowl contender. And Bain brings exactly what they need. Explosive get-off. Violent hands. He converts speed to power in a way that's special. His motor runs hot against the run. And he's a pro-ready player. But here's what Kevin Clark added that really stood out. He said, the most important part of Ruben Bain's fit with the Chiefs is how many big games he excelled in. He had 9 pressures alone against Ohio State in the college football playoff. He set up Notre Dame all game long to close it out on the last possession. He is a clutch pass rusher. And the Chiefs need that because week 1, they need to hit the ground running. Now, let's talk about the Cowboys. The crew didn't spend a ton of time on them, but the headline is clear. The Cowboys are eyeing Caleb Downs at pick 12. Bill Barnwell mentioned that if Caleb Downs drops, that could be your SP. Ought for him to land with the Minnesota Vikings in a trade-up scenario. But the Cowboys are sitting at 12, and they need secondary help. They need a culture changer. And Caleb Downs, the guy Ryan Day called the best high school player he's ever seen, is exactly that. He can play safety. He can play nickel. He can even play running back if you need him to. That's the kind of versatility the Cowboys need on defense. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Eagles. Bill Barnwell proposed a trade. Max Crosby to the Philadelphia Eagles for a first-round pick, a third-rounder next year, and Nolan Smith. Let me read that again. Max Crosby, one of the best defensive players in football, to the Eagles. And the panel had strong reactions. Mina Kimes said, I would like this a lot for Las Vegas. They get pick 23, which gives them shots at receivers who could be very helpful to their young quarterback Fernando Mendoza. But for Philadelphia, it comes down to one thing. Do you believe in Max Crosby's health? The Ravens were about to trade for him. 2 first-round picks. That deal fell apart because of medical concerns. So if the Eagles give him the green light and make the trade, what does that say about the Ravens' medical staff? Kevin Clark said, "It's one of the most fascinating things to watch over the next 2 weeks. Does anybody get back into the Max Crosby sweepstakes?" And Bill Barnwell, who called himself a fake trade expert and a doctor of psychology, said Eagles need a culture change. He said, bringing in Max Crosby to that building, to that room where everybody was mad and angry last year, is the logical place to go. He said it's a risk, but it's the kind of risk Howie Roseman likes to take. And he even joked that by November, Max Crosby and Big Dom will be hosting a podcast together. Now, let's talk about the Commanders. Kevin Clark had a great nugget. He talked to Dan Quinn, who said the new offense under David Blau is going to feature a lot more play action and deep shots. Jaden Daniels was the best deep ball thrower in college football history, even better than Joe Burrow. And they want to unleash that. So they need a receiver who can stretch the field. Mina Kimes said Carnell Tate from Ohio State would be a dream fit. He's a classic Z receiver. He pairs well with Terry McLaurin. The only issue. Cleveland picks right before Washington, and they're the team most linked to Tate. Bill Barnwell had a different idea. He said the Commanders should sign Jowan Jennings, the former 49ers receiver who's still a free agent. Jennings is great on third downs, great in tight windows, great after the catch. He said, if there was anybody who played up on third downs in tight windows when his team needed a conversion, it was Jowan Jennings. That's a savvy veteran move that wouldn't cost a draft pick. Now, let's talk about the Panthers. Because this is where the crew had an interesting debate. Kevin Clark said the Panthers row. Stir is in good shape. They signed Devin Lloyd and Jalen Phillips in free agency. They don't have screaming needs. They can go best player available. But Mina Kimes said they could use speed and suddenness at wide receiver. She mentioned Casey Compion, or as she called him, my lemon, as a guy who fits their system. And Bill Barnwell made a great point about the Panthers' tight end situation. He said, they're 30th in receiving yards from their tight ends over the past 2 seasons. They have big bodies. Everyone is 6 feet 4 inches or taller, but can they get a tight end who stretches the field horizontally, runs away from coverage, creates after the catch? That's what they're missing. Not a first-round pick, but maybe day 2 or day 3. The crew also talked about the Jaguars and Travis Hunter. Kevin Clark said he would make Hunter a full-time cornerback. He said, supply and demand. There are a lot more elite wide receivers in this league than there are elite cornerbacks. If you've got one who can take one side of the field away, I would hammer that over and over again. That's a great point. Hunter is a unicorn, the only player in the last 15 years with 300 offensive snaps and 150 defensive snaps in a season, and he did it in 7 games. But he needs to buy into whatever plan the Jags have. Consistency is key. Finally, the crew talked about the Bears. Mina Kimes said they should focus on defense, specifically the front 7. They were historically low in quick pressure. Pressures under 2.5 seconds. 3rd lowest mark by any team since 2018. You can't compete with the Super Bowl contenders if you can't rush the passer. But Bill Barnwell made a counterpoint. He said the Bears lost 370 yards to dropped passes last season, most in the NFL. They need a reliable target for Caleb Williams. He mentioned Denzel Boston from Washington, who had a drop rate of just 1.5% over his last 2 seasons. That's incredible. That's the kind of sure-handed receiver Williams needs. So what's the takeaway? The draft is 2 weeks away. The Cowboys need a safety. The Chiefs need a pass rusher. The Commanders need a receiver. The Eagles might make a blockbuster trade for Max Crosby. And the Panthers are quietly building something special. Here's my question for you. Should the Eagles trade for Max Crosby? And who's the best fit for the Cowboys at 12? Caleb Downs or someone else? Drop a comment. Let me know. And if you want more of these breakdowns, hit that like button and subscribe. We are building something real here. I'll see you in the next one.